Under the lights at Rupp Arena, folks, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Part of Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. The first meeting all time between Samford and number 3, the Kentucky Wildcats. And a few moments ago, we caught up with the head coach of the Wildcats, John Calipari, about the challenge ahead.
Run that Princeton offense. They can lull you to sleep. Their big men shoot threes. You know they're going to come in and try to either backdoor us or get three-point shots. It's a good test for us. We need another game like this. I mean, we just played a team that trapped us in the post and squeezed pick and rolls, and we played another team that came in and played 40 minutes of zone. So this will be a good test for us.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones alongside Dan Dockich. Thanks for coming aboard. Dan, tonight a couple of very young teams, especially Kentucky. 4 of its top 6 players, freshmen. Where are they right now on the ladder to success?
Well, they're a very good team. Struggled with Indiana late in the game. Didn't foul twice. A lot of Kentucky fans are upset about that. But this is a very talented, very good basketball team. Tonight's going to be interesting. For Samford, they're going to shoot the 3. Watch number 1, Drew Wiltjer. He's 6'9". He picks and pops. He goes out to the three-point line. He's going to bring Anthony Davis, the nation's leading shot blocker, out. It's an interesting test for Davis. For Kentucky, can overconfidence get them? The thought is the only people that can beat Kentucky in this game is Kentucky. But if you go by how the walkthrough was, this was a very, very focused team getting ready for another home game.
The cogent points of our one-on-one as we take a look at the Samford starting lineup. They start 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a junior. Wiltjer, the team's high scorer. Meanwhile, for Kentucky, for their top 6, as I said, freshmen. Teague and Lamb in the backcourt, Kidd-Gilchrist, Miller, and Davis up front. And we are set to get underway.
Just as a side note, Marcus Teague did not miss in warm-ups. I said, you making warm-ups? He said, I'm making today in the game, coach, so we'll see.
His jumper has been a point of contention amongst the fans here, the loyal followers in Lexington. So much scrutiny for this program that has high expectations once again. And the big news coming into the game is that Terrence Jones will not play tonight. You see him there in his civilian clothes. He has a dislocated finger on his shooting hand. That left pinky was basically taking a left turn where it wasn't supposed to. He injured in the early parts of that game against the University of Tennessee Chattanooga back on Saturday.
Well, today at the shoot-around, he had a big-time cast splint on it, took it off, and was shooting around right-handed, but he was in pain every time the ball touched his left hand.
Here's the long jumper from Cook, in and out, and rebounded by the Wildcats. Now, as Kentucky has the ball, without Jones, how does that change what they do?
Well, I think you saw in the first possession, they were trying to post Darius Miller, who's stronger than anybody that's going to guard him for Kentucky, or for Samford, excuse me.
Doron Lamb with the layup. And the game's first 2 points. Kentucky, a team averaging almost 82 points a game coming in. Out top to Wiltjer, has his shot blocked by Davis. The alley-oop, and Davis converts it from Kidd-Gilchrist.
Mark, that's a play that really has Coach Calipari excited. He worked in the walkthrough on Davis getting back to his man, getting back to Wiltjer, staying down and going up when Wiltjer went up. He blocks the shot, runs the floor, finishes on the other end. That's just a terrific play.
A man who's still realizing his vast potential. Got his first bucket, 18.5 minutes to go in the first half. Staunch defense, Teague with the steal and the layup. In this game, Dan, starting to look very much like the UT Chattanooga game where they jumped out in front 13-0.
Yeah, in the Chattanooga game, they couldn't get the ball past half court early. When they did, they were rushed. Teague just took advantage of his fellow freshman last possession.
Devin McNeil turns it over. Samford gets it back with 21 seconds on the shot clock. Teague with good ball pressure. And now we get a look at this Princeton offense that they like to run.
If you see one of the Kentucky players get back cut, they're going to come out of the game, according to what Coach Calipari said today.
Hood with the contested 3. Good defense by Darius Miller, getting his second start. Kidd-Gilchrist, boy, his motor continues to rev at a high speed. Timeout, Samford. Kentucky landing a series of body blows to start this game. We need a bigger boat.
Remember that scene in...
Welcome back, everyone, to the SEC on ESPN, part of Holiday Hoops, presented by K Jewelers. Mark Jones courtside, along with Dan Dockich. Kentucky, Dan, out to a 4-for-4 start from the field.
Yeah, one of the things that Kentucky does, you're seeing right here, when they get a couple steals, it's like sharks smelling blood. They just pick up the heat even more.
Nice kick out to Lamb for the open look, and a good decision that time by Marcus Teague.
Boy, that was a terrific play by Teague. He knew ahead of time. He was thinking one Polaroid ahead. It's what great players do. He knew where Lamb was, knew that he wasn't going to be able to score, found him before he ever received the ball.
Back out to Hood. Windler, a nice pass on the give and go, and Hood draws the foul. It's going to go against Kidd-Gilchrist. That's his first personal, first team foul.
Well, one of the things Kentucky has to do in the Princeton offense, when the ball goes into the post, the passer cuts off the post. He goes to the front of the rim. Gilchrist, that time when the pass was made into the post, he fell asleep a little bit. Cut was made. He's late. He fouls.
Is that a benchable offense?
I don't
Your
know.
Honor?
I looked over as soon as the foul was made. I looked at Coach Calipari, and he kind of had a disgusted, like, we went over this look.
It's a young team that he's dealing with this year. He was lamenting that fact, although they are young and extremely talented.
Mark, there's not too many people in the country, too many coaches in the country that are going to pay attention to Coach Calipari lamenting his roster. There's
Rife with McDonald's All-Americans. That jumper off the mark by Darius Miller, who's getting the start in place of Terrence Jones.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. Darius Miller has a size advantage, and instead of Jones down there in the block, here it was going to be Miller.
Here's Windler with the dribble handoff. Cook got caught up on the block to Windler, working against Davis. Davis flopped, couldn't get the foul.
That's a bad play by Davis. Davis doesn't need the flop. He doesn't need the charge. He's going to block Windler's shot, or Windler's going to get it out of there. He just needs to play position and then go block the shot and get in transition.
Yeah, ask North Carolina about that.
Everybody they've played have fallen victim to the block shot by Davis.
Miller, that's a strong move. And Darius Miller on the board.
Excuse me, Mark. Miller was out here an hour and 45 before the game, going really hard. He wasn't just shooting jumpers. He wasn't messing around with the ball boys. He was out here working. And I tweeted, actually, watch for Darius Miller having a big game. You could just tell by how he was getting after it, by himself, with one coach feeding him.
A lot of these Kentucky players of late taking equity in their own team, starting their own breakfast club and a morning workout group before practice even starts in the morning. Here's Lamb, halfway down and out, rebounded by Windler.
That ball came out of the right side of his hand. It had bad rotation, and Lamb knew it as soon as he shot it.
Here's Hood. Samford out of the Southern Conference, coming in on a modest two-game winning streak. But with all due respect to their opponents, including Lindsey Hill and Spring Hill, pardon me, this is a step up in competition tonight for their head coach, Jimmy Tillett. And Hood on the board again. He's got 3.
Well, there was a miscommunication. And when you don't communicate against a Princeton-style offense, 2 guys usually run to the three-point line and forget the basket. And that's what Kentucky did there.
Kidd-Gilchrist for the layup.
That's just too easy. That's just, you know, there's one thing to be bigger and stronger. There's another thing for the guy that's bigger and stronger to give more effort, and that's what happened there. Kentucky, Kidd-Gilchrist just gave more effort.
That time Lamb defended well against the backdoor cut. Windler out front. Here's Kelly, who's checked into the ball game, launching a deep 3. And one and done for Samford. Here's Lamb. Davis can shoot that. Calipari was telling us that he's going to let him get a little bit more of a green light offensively. Got some things in his toolbox for him offensively.
Well, you could see by Anthony Davis's stroke that he could shoot the ball. He's just physically, mentally not ready to go about shooting the ball.
Tell you what, Windler's bringing a little challenge to him tonight.
That's what we talked about in the opening. This is a kid that's willing. I mean, this is a kid from Milwaukee that is looking at this game as an opportunity, not as something to be feared. And he's got a nice perimeter game. He went on the block there, took over Davis.
Defense on the baseline by Merritt. Teague out top. There's Miller with the jumper, and he knocks it down.
You know, Miller hit that jumper, Mark, but Hood played it really well. Against Indiana, Teague was splitting everybody getting to the rim. Coach Tillet's theory is, look, we're not going to let him split us down the lane. You're going to have to hit jump shots, and Miller did there. So it was good defense, better offense.
This Kentucky team shooting about 37% from downtown. Time on the floor, the Wildcats up by 11.
Well, you're going to see it here. Miller just too strong around the basket. Now on the other end, though, you got to give Wiltjer credit. He went right at the nation.
All right, Jonathan, back here, the ranks of the unbeaten continue to dwindle. Kentucky's only loss of the season, an upset or something not an upset against Indiana not that long ago. As we look at the remaining unbeaten teams of those crews, Dan, which do you think is the biggest surprise?
Well, I think a lot of people are surprised by Indiana. Indiana's win over Kentucky, obviously, at the end surprised a lot of people. But I'll tell you this, Missouri fans were down on Frank Haith when they hired him, and he has done a sensational job of continuing what Mike Anderson started. And you know what? The most impressive performance I have seen all year, and this may sound odd, Baylor went into Northwestern and had them down 30. Won by, I believe it was 28, and it was as dominating a performance as you're ever going to see on the road against the team in Northwestern who's better than what Northwestern had been in the past.
Baylor, a dominating team as Lamb goes to the bucket and is fouled. Perry Jones III, a Player of the Year candidate.
Mark, they looked so athletic to me, fast, together. I mean, it was a stunning performance. I turned the game on. It was about halfway through thinking, all right, this will be a decent game, and Baylor was up like 26.
And now it's Lamb at the free throw line. Lamb, a 82% free throw shooter. Native of Queens, New York, a sophomore for this young Kentucky team. Had a game-high 24 points a couple of nights ago against UT Chattanooga. Shot 4 of 9 from downtown. He's a guy that put in a lot of time in the gym this summer working on his shot, and it's really starting to pay dividends, shooting 50% from downtown so far.
We were talking to Coach Calipari today, and he said that one of the biggest improvements for Lamb has been his individual work on his own, 45 minutes before practice, 45 minutes after practice, something he really hadn't done until this year, until now.
There's a backdoor cut, and Kyle Wiltjer got victimized on that one.
That should do it for Wiltjer. If Coach Cal goes by what he said.
That was Friday on the backdoor cut. Kentucky gets it right back, though, with Teague.
Yeah, Marcus Teague just did what Coach Tillett was not wanting him to do, which was split the defense and get to the rim.
Inside to Friday. Nice give and go. A little contact, no call. As Kelly missed the layup. Teague gets into the teeth of the defense and knocks it down. Decision making for a young freshman point guard, always a key point.
He has improved so much with Coach Calipari just this year. I mean, just this year. First 4 games, Teague, 11 assists, 18 turnovers. Last 6 games, 35-9 assists to turnovers. And you know what? It's not only that, Mark, but he's a terrific layup shooter. Like, people think that's easy. It's really not. Like, he's able to contort his body. He can go left-handed. He can go off 2 feet, 1 foot. He is a terrific layup shooter. And as you said, his decision-making has become ridiculously good.
A team that continues to grow game by game, minute by minute. Samford with 15 on the shot clock now. Backdoor cut, and that's going to be a foul against the Wildcats. As always, when you're playing against that Princeton offense, don't turn your head. Don't sleep, Dan Dockich. As if you hit the snooze bar. Welcome back, everyone, to Rupp Arena. The Wildcats with a 24-9 lead. Mark Jones along with Dan Dockich. Dan, let's go inside the play and how best to defend against backdoor cut.
Well, you're going to see right here. Watch Kyle Wiltjer. He's going to play Merritt. The pass comes. He's playing defense. Everything's okay. Now, if we can pause it right here. You see his shoulders are going this way. His shoulders are supposed to be parallel so that when the back cut is made, the offensive player runs right in to Wiltjer. His shoulders are turned, doesn't see the cut. Next thing you know, it's a layup. Coach Calipari went over that and over that and over that. Specific move. Keep your shoulders squared. We're not denying. We're staying between your man and the basket. It's a fundamental move. A lot of kids learn it in second grade.
Here's a look at head coach Jimmy Tollett in his 15th season as head coach of Samford, the Bulldogs.
And look who's out of the game. Wiltjer is out of the game. He said it. If you get back cut, you're coming out.
It's an express ticket for you. And Toledo is mentioning the head coach. He was actually an assistant for them for 8 years prior to taking over. Bulldogs with possession, 11.5 to go. Friday posting up against Vargas. Hood from way outside. And Friday says, look what I found for the stick back. Matthew Friday, the 6'8 senior, with his first bucket. The lead down to 13. Here's Eloy Vargas. Good defense, tied up. Brandon Heyman with a nice defensive play, and he forces the foul on Kidd-Gilchrist.
You know, Heyman's the first kid in this game for Samford that really went after a Kentucky player there. Samford's been very passive in half-court defense. They've let Kentucky move the ball. They've let them move people. But that time, Heyman, just coming into the game, he went right at Kentucky.
Here's Kelly out top. Inside the hood, good ball fake, couldn't cash in, and rebounded by Davis. Miller with a nice show and go. Boy, that's a big time move. Darius Miller with 7 quick points in the game here in the first half.
Yeah, Darius Miller just using his 6'8", 225-pound frame and just dominated a 200-pound Merritt.
Nice backdoor cut. And the layup by Jeffrey Merritt, one in a long line of Merritts that have attended Samford and played.
And you could see right there Coach Cal on the court barking at Lamb, because the one thing, we keep saying it, but the one thing he did not want to give up. He did not want to give up pick and pop threes, and he did not want to give up any back cuts.
Lamb cross court to Teague. Past the midway point now here in the first half. Number 3 Kentucky in control. Good deflection, active hands, and knocked out of bounds by Heyman.
Well, once again, you're going to see Lamb is straight up. He's straight up and down. And you have to be in a stance. And when you're straight up and down, your first reaction is to get down, get low. And when you're reacting low and the offensive player is going to the rim, you're always going to be late.
Good jump out on the screen by Matthew Friday. Causes a jump ball situation. The possession arrow in favor of Samford. Now, let's get back to Kentucky defending that Princeton offense. Is it almost like in football, coaches lament the fact that they got to go against a wishbone? It's almost a counterintuitive type of situation.
Well, what it does is it makes you play fundamental defense. That's why some coaches, in this case, Coach Robick, John Robick, who sets the schedule, they wanted to play against this because it makes you stay in a stance, it makes you react. All 5 guys have to be in sync. So you try to get something out of it that way, and it exposes you when you don't, as we saw with Lamb. You're straight up, you're out of a stance, you get beat.
It's important for a young team like Kentucky, still trying to find its way. Lamb, that's going to be a blocking foul against the Bulldogs, and will cook. Well, folks, Wednesday night, ESPN2 has a college basketball double dip for you. First at 7, Texas takes on North Carolina. And then at 9, it's Oklahoma State taking on Alabama. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers on ESPN. I had a look at Texas this past weekend, and got a nice crew down there. Rick Barnes does, once again, looking for their 14th consecutive appearance in the NCAA tournament. Jacobin Brown, one of the most explosive, dynamic scorers in the country.
You know, you talk about kids improving. Jacobin Brown has really improved. Alabama's part of that doubleheader. They're searching for a jump shot. We're going to talk about it later in the broadcast, but they're 9 of 46 in their 3 losses from the three-point line, and you've got to be able to shoot a lot better than that if you're going to play at a high level, and I think Alabama's a high-level team.
Off the Lamb miss. 8 points in the ball game for Lamb. He's the game's high scorer so far. Cook with the cut. Out of bounds. It'll stay Samford basketball as their leading scorer on the season. Wiltjer comes back in. And Teague will get a breather for Kentucky. In comes 20 Beckham. Transfer from Mississippi State in the ball game. On the drive, there's going to be a whistle, and Heyman was forced out of bounds. Kentucky ball.
You know, if you're Samford, once you get into offense, you don't want to dribble more than 2 times. You know, playing without the dribble has been very effective here for Samford. You know, when they've cut, when they've passed, and the passer cuts immediately, that's worked well, but any more than 2 dribbles has been a problem for Samford.
Kyle Wiltjer gets it on the block, immediately double teamed. And Wiltjer gets ripped and commits the foul. You might ask, who is Samford? Who are the Bulldogs in Birmingham, Alabama? Just under 5,000 enrollment. And Bobby Bowden, that guy used to coach football, one of their famous alumni.
Bobby Bowden could really coach. Bobby Bowden was a lot of fun to listen to. No matter where he's being interviewed, he's a blast.
Back to Wiltjer out front. Miller kicks it back out to Wiltjer. 12 on the shot clock. Wiltjer takes it strong to the cup and gets it to fall.
Boy, Wiltjer went right to the rim, splitting the defense. We talked about Samford not getting split. Miller, for Kentucky, instead of moving his feet and helping his teammate out, he just kind of reached, and Wiltjer went to the rim.
Strong move inside by Darius Miller. That was another impressive move. And you know, when you look at the amount of freshmen that have been one and done here at Kentucky, and the 5 guys that went to the NBA a couple of years ago in the NBA draft, all in the first round, you see a guy like Darius Miller, a senior. There's a tendency for the casual fan, Dan, to say, hey, what's wrong with him? He's still here as a senior. As the bucket is good that time. Nice shot by Tyler Hood.
Well, John Calipari is absolutely unloading on his team. Now he walks away. But right here on the side, you're going to see Wiltjer gets beat. Darius Miller, instead of sliding over, taking away the drive, he just reaches, and here, defense is pulled together.
John Calipari on the bench. Kenny Payne to his right, and Orlando Antigua, the assistant, to his left, and Miller's jumper missing everything. Lead down to 11 points. Number 3 team in the nation, with 4 freshmen in its top 6. This one of the seniors, and Miller comes back and knocks it down. He's got double digits now with 12.
That's what a senior's supposed to do. He shot an air ball earlier in the possession. They retrieved it, got it back to him. Instead of worrying about it, a senior lifts up and knocks in the shot. That's exactly what a senior's supposed to do.
Here's Hood on the drive, and the blow by Davis recovers nicely.
Davis was whipped on the play. And I think Hood thought he had a layup, went to the other side, and forgot that Davis, maybe the best shot blocker in NCAA basketball. No maybe about it, he is.
That 7-foot-plus wingspan obviously helps. Lamb with the floater, gets it to go, and a 3-point play.
Well, Lamb came off a nice pin down, read the defense. And Kelly fouls him for a 3-point play. Watch the block here. Davis is whipped. Hood goes to the other side like you're taught to do, but you got Davis. You see here, Lamb reads it, and Kelly just pushes 3-point play, Kentucky. Versus Goliath, but
52 All-Americans. It begs the question, who was the One Samford All-American.
I'll tell you who that was. You want to know who that was?
Go, please do.
That was Jeff Merritt's brother, J. Robert Merritt.
You came ready tonight.
I did. I did.
Lamb completes the three-point play. An 82% free throw shooter. And the biggest lead of the night so far for the Wildcats at 17 points. With just under 6.5 to go here in the first half. Kentucky looking for its 10th win of the season against just that one loss. Ten on the shot clock. There's the backdoor cut. Good ball fake. And they get a bucket out of it. Nice shot that time and move by Merritt.
Again, you get exposed when you play against this offense. Miller, for Kentucky, stood straight up 2 passes away from the ball instead of jumping to the ball, getting in the lane. And when you stand straight up, somebody's going to cut you. And Miller just got cut up right there.
Got a whistle and a foul underneath. It looks like it's going to go against Drew Windler.
Well, you're going to see, look on the weak side as the ball's reversed. Darius Miller gets a little back screen, but he wasn't ready for the screen. And this is in scouting. When you're opposite the ball on top, you know a back screen's coming. It's called a slice cut. Darius Miller was straight up. When you're straight up, you get beat.
Teague off the inbound. Back out to Teague. He calls the set. Nice dish to a wide open Lamb, and Lamb nails another three. That was butter. He's got 14, and a good decision, a solid one by Marcus Teague, who had 8 assists against just 1 turnover in his last game. His decision-making improving.
And that's the shot that Samford's willing to give up. They don't want Teague splitting them down the lane. They don't want to get beat at the basket. They're willing to take a chance with Kentucky shooting threes.
Kentucky right now 4 of 7 from downtown. Windler never got his hands on the kick out. 8 on the shot clock. Wiltjer coming back into the ball game for Kidd-Gilchrist.
All right, with 5 minutes to go, Samford has 20 points. Kidd-Gilchrist goes out. Kidd-Gilchrist has played a terrific defensive game. He's covered up, he switched. On that last possession, he played the back cut, then he played the post. Let's see what they do defensively, Kentucky, without him.
Boy, great hustle by Davis to get on the deck. Wiltjer on the move. Oh, what a follow by Davis. He started it, and he finished it. An amazing story of a 6'3" junior, Anthony Davis, who grew into a 6'10" senior, all in 1 year. He starts it here, Dan.
Yeah, he starts it with great hands on the ball, protects it, gives it up. Now, you're not going to see him, but all of a sudden you are going to see him finishing on the play from the deck.
They've doubled up the Bulldogs right now by 20. Well, we talked about 6'3". I mean, how do you recruit a guy? You think you're getting a wing player or a shooting guard and you get a center instead?
Coach Calipari said he never saw him as a junior. You know, he's a 6'3" guy, just another guy. And then all of a sudden at 6'10", everybody's telling him, listen, you have to see this kid. I remember seeing him in an AAU event. He was ridiculously good. And he is here. He is in college.
Calipari comparing him to very favorably to Marcus Camby, a player that he had at the University of Massachusetts. Playing over a decade in the NBA, now with the Portland Trail Blazers. Good hustle by Merritt on defense. Got his hands a couple of times, got some deflections, and hustles out of bounds. And Davis goes down in a good show of sportsmanship. Davis comes up limping. Not a good sign already. Kentucky down a big man. If you're just joining us, remember Terrence Jones not playing tonight because of a dislocated pinky finger on his shooting hand. And Davis will come out of the game. Approaching 4 minutes to go in the first half. Teague refusing the ball screen. That's a shot he can take. Wiltjer with the rebound. Kentucky getting multiple possessions here with offensive rebounding. Another high ball screen. Wiltjer back out to Miller. Defense is really laying off Teague, daring him to shoot. Drives it in. That's what he does best.
You know, Teague looks quick on TV, but in person, he's just explosive.
He's even faster.
I mean, he blew by Indiana late in that game, and Indiana was playing off. There, Samford was playing off and still had no shot.
A whistle, and that's going to be a violation against the Bulldogs. Anthony Davis being tended to on the sidelines, but adding to his highlight reel a moment ago with an education and anticipation. First the steal, and then the flush. Putting it on the line tonight for the Wildcat Nation. Back with more after this. Double dip on ESPN2. Memphis taking on Georgetown at 7. And then at 9, Illinois takes on Missouri. Holiday Hoops presented by Kidd Jewelers. Missouri, as we were talking about a moment ago, a controversial time when they hired Frank Haith, who was unceremoniously, anyway, left Miami. And doing a great job with the Tigers out in Columbia.
You're going to see one of the best young post kids in the country, Myers Leonard for Illinois. He's having a terrific season.
Wiltjer missing from downtown, tipped up by Vargas, kept alive, and Miller battling in there too. Foul going to go against the Bulldogs. As Anthony Davis continues to receive attention there on the sidelines from the athletic training staff. Wildcats to inbound. And Davis,
he's so good. There should be team doctors, orthopedic surgeons. Everybody should be looking at him as good as he is. That's not a job for just one trainer.
Wiltjer hustles to get the loose ball. And a jump ball possession arrow in favor of the Wildcats. Yeah, Davis is talking about, he averages a robust 4.2 blocks per game. That's almost half as much as the team does. Team leading 10 a game. That's tops in the nation.
Well, when you do what Anthony Davis does, which is obviously block shots, you can't really calculate how many he changes or how often it's in somebody's mind when they go to the rim. Because when you play Kentucky, you're going to see highlights of him doing that. And, you know, they're going to talk about get your body into him, shot fake twice, things like that. And that's all well and good, but when you play against him, it's in your mind. It's in your head that he's around.
Made that big block in that one-point win against North Carolina earlier this year.
I think our colleague, Coach Knight, is still yelling shot fake at Henson.
Lamb with the runner. Oh, that was sweet. Doron Lamb has it working on all cylinders tonight. 16 points.
Oh, that was nice. He took the contact, kept his shoulder square to the basket, his elbow under the ball.
Kelly with a nice hesitation move. Gets it out to Merritt. And a quick outlet to Teague. Nice Euro step. And he's fouled going to the cup.
Mark, that's what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of guys may have charged there or thrown up a bad shot. He's an outstanding basketball player within 5 to 7 feet. He just takes his time, reads the defense, and goes to the rim. And people think, well, you're talking about a guy as a great layup shooter. What does that mean? Look, that's a skill. Yeah. That's a skill that a lot don't have. That requires your chin on the rim, touch on the ball, being able to anticipate and absorb contact.
Well, took a little hit on that last play. A 58% free throw shooter as Davis comes back into the ball game for Kyle Wiltjer. Going to take a little time for Wiltjer, a freshman out of Portland, Oregon. He, like many, a McDonald's High School All-American, but averaging just under 15 minutes per game. And Coach Calipari telling us earlier that there are just some situations where it's tough to get him some minutes.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we were talking before the game who you thought was going to play well. You thought he would, Wiltjer, because this would be a game where you can get him minutes.
25-point lead for the Wildcats. Vargas with the block, but a foul on the play. Christmas Day, what more do you want under your tree than 5 NBA games? It all starts with NBA Countdown at 2 Eastern on ABC, then at 2:30 Eastern. Rematch of the NBA Finals, Heat and Mavs, and at 5, Bulls and Lakers, and at 8, Magic and Thunder at 10:30. The night capped with a glass of eggnog. It'll be the Clippers and the Golden State Warriors.
You're an NBA guy. You're around the Lakers. How much does it help the Lakers that they're not dealing with the whole reality show, the Kardashians, all that stuff?
I think they need that. I think they thrive on the attention. They usually do. It's moving down to Dallas now. Lamar Odom and his wife, Khloe Kardashian.
You live in the Miami area. Do you shop at Dash?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. I go to the warehouse malls, Dan, if you're interested. I'm Gucci all the way. And that guy has a designer game, too. That time, Teague missing, though.
Yeah, that was good defense. Samford didn't let him get to the rim, squared their shoulders, didn't bail him out with a foul. That was good defense by Samford around the basket.
Hood out top. Got a nice screen from Wiltjer. Try to get it to him, but man, quick hands again by Anthony Davis.
Yeah, Hood wound up on that, and Anthony Davis is too quick with his hands to wind up. You have to make quick, sharp, tough passes against a team like Kentucky with no arc on them and nothing soft.
Miller with a drive, Vargas inside. Tipped up a second time, no good, and Miller gets it. There's a 1 second difference between the game clock and shot clock, so they're probably going to run it down here in all likelihood. It's always good for young teams to have situations like this, right?
Yeah, and Marcus Teague is debating whether to get a high ball screen or go to 1-4 flat. He and Anthony Davis are communicating with one another. Actually, Marcus Teague has gone 3 different ways. Now they're going to set the high ball screen, flat screen.
Kicks it out to a wide open Miller. Tipped up by Davis a couple times. Still time, Teague! And that's the end of the first half of play. Entirely dominated by Kentucky, 45-22. And Doron Lamb with a game-high 16 on a very efficient 5 of 6 from the field. Kentucky with the lead at half. Now it's time for the Kay Jewelers halftime report. Here's Jonathan Coachman back in the studio. Coach? The start of the second half. I'm Mark Jones chopping it up with Dan Dockich. And Dan, in the first half, Kentucky shot about 54% from the field, and they scored in a variety of different ways, showing a lot of diversity.
They did. Without Terrence Jones, they went to Darius Miller on the block, and he delivered. He had 12 points at the half. You know, Lamb pretty good, too. Doron Lamb, acting like the veteran for this team that he is a sophomore. Samford, though, only 1 for 11 from the three-point line. This is a team that's third in the nation, averaging about 11 threes per night.
Well, below the number of points they expected to score right now, partially blocked that time. And the third block of the game by Davis, approaching his average of 4.
Well, that's what we talked about earlier when Davis flopped. He doesn't need to flop against anyone. He just needs to go up, stay behind, and block the shot.
Inside, Kidd-Gilchrist with good hands. Couldn't get it to go. And for Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, a little bit of a struggle tonight offensively. He plays a complete floor game. Teague on the drive and kick. Miller thought about it. That time, Kidd-Gilchrist finishes with 2 hands.
One of the things Kentucky has done all year, and opposing defenses have done all year, and they have to stop, is when Kentucky drives the ball into the middle of the lane, opposing defenses come up to meet the driver. You can't do that. You're either going to get lobbed down, which we've seen all year, or there's going to be an interior pass, which you just saw. Kentucky is a terrific interior passing team.
They get the turnover here. That's the 10th turnover by Samford. Look at Davis put it on the deck. Kind of got crossed up and tripped over his own feet there a little bit. And back comes the Bulldogs. Wiltjer cross-court Merritt with a nice move and has it knocked away by Darius Miller. Let's finish a point that we started on Darius Miller as he comes out of the game now for Wiltjer, and he seems to be limping off the court. He's one of the few seniors on this roster with a talented crew that leaves usually after 1 or 2 years at Kentucky. The tendency for normal fans is to say, well, what's wrong with him? He's still here as a senior. How do you explain that?
Well, you know, he's not NBA ready. He's Mr. Basketball in Ohio, or excuse me, in Kentucky, and he was the SEC tournament MVP. He's a terrific player, but not NBA ready. Maybe he will be after this year, because you say whatever you want about Coach Calipari, but kids get better with playing for him. They get better. And, you know, Miller's just a kid that, you know, like most kids, needs to go to college, get better, keep working, and we'll see where he ends up. But I'll tell you one thing, he's got great NBA tickets because all of his teammates are at different places all over the NBA.
There's an upside to everything.
He's got great seats.
Lamb with the pull-up. Rebound and a good hustle by Cook to chase down the loose ball for the Bulldogs. Samford out of the Southern Conference. Right now 0-2 in conference play. This a little bit step up in competition for them tonight.
You know, I thought Samford got more comfortable running their offense in the first half. You didn't see very many shots like that in the last 10 minutes. Now, they didn't make a lot. They missed some things inside. The ball was stolen a few times. But I was talking to their athletic director, Martin Newton, and I said, you know, the last 10 minutes you got better as a team. You didn't get anything on the scoreboard to show for it, but I thought they got better, more confident.
Well, they haven't had a field goal, Dan, since 6:05 of the first half. Nice move, Wiltjer with a sweet ball fake.
Just like that. You know, early in the game, he may have thrown it and ran their offense. You make plays like that when you're more comfortable with what you're doing.
Now at the defensive end, Samford, it was pointed out by their head coach Jimmy Tillett, has transitioned from a 2-3 zone team to primarily a man team right now. What do you make of their defense so far?
Well, they're not physical enough to compete in this game. Their body types they're not strong enough. Darius Miller's going on the block and whipped them pretty good. And again, in talking to their athletic director Martin Newton, he felt like even in their own league they have to get more physical.
Teague knocks down the three.
He told me he wasn't missing in this game. Now he's missed a couple, but he was making everything in warm-up.
He got 12. 26-point lead, a whistle and a foul. Largest lead of the game, and when Teague starts hitting that jump shot, now it's really trouble. How do you guard him?
Well, you can't. You guard him like this. You make him shoot that shot. And again, in talking to Coach Calipari earlier today, he wants Teague to shoot a three just to keep defenses honest. Just keep them honest. If they're playing off, you go shoot the three. Don't do it as a part of the offense. Just do it to keep defenses honest.
That last foul was against Kidd-Gilchrist, his third. Merritt with a tough pull-up. Rebounded by Eloy Vargas. Vargas out of American Heritage High School in Plantation, Florida. Jumper no good, and one and done for the Wildcats. Nice drop and great bounce pass, and the bucket good by Kelly, who turned his ankle. Comes up hobbling.
Kelly turned his ankle. He also turned Marcus Teague. Again, we talked in the first half. Playing this against this Princeton style forces you to be fundamentally sound. Stay in a stance, jump to the ball, get in the lane, have your head on a swivel, be ready. Marcus Teague right there just fell asleep, got back to it.
There he is on the step-back jumper, and he's in a nice rhythm right now offensively. Marcus Teague, the 6'2 freshman from Indianapolis, Indiana, has 14, the younger brother of Jeff Teague, now with the Atlanta Hawks.
Tell you what, Marcus Teague's dad, Sean, was a really good player in Indiana. Played for Rick Pitino at Boston University. Well, you're going to see here, Teague gets screened, gets spun around, goes the wrong side of the lane, gets beat on a back cut. But on the other end, he gets it back with a little step-back jumper.
Thanks a lot, Jonathan, and remember, you want to join our conversation on the social media platform Twitter. Include the hashtag ESPN Home Court after your comments. Let us know what you think about this contest tonight. Tell you what, when Teague starts hitting that jumper like he is tonight, that spells trouble for a lot of Kentucky's opponents, not only in the SEC, but down the line when March rolls around. Where do you see Kentucky finishing in the SEC this year?
Well, I think they're going to win the SEC. I think it goes through there, but I also think Florida, Brad Beal, I don't know if you had a chance to see him, he's a special kid, and you combine him with with Walker. I mean, they're a team that can give anybody trouble on any given night, obviously. And Patrick Young inside's a tough guy. I will say this, Mississippi State, the Wiltjer kid, 6'11", transfer from UTEP, averaging 11.5 rebounds a game. Talking to SEC assistants, they're talking about him, not Ronaldo Sidney.
Wow. As Lamb knocks down another long-range jumper, he's got 19. I get a chance to see Mississippi State on December 28th, a game you'll see on ESPN against the Baylor Bears down at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. That should be a good one.
Well, that's going to be about as high level an athletic game as you're going to see. And, Wiltjer, Ronaldo Sidney, terrific point guard, D. Bost, getting ready to break the all-time assist record at Mississippi State while scoring over 1,300 points. That's just terrific defense.
Wiltjer got stripped. Kidd-Gilchrist on the drive and the finish.
Haven't heard much from Kidd-Gilchrist today. He's just had a solid night. That's his 8th point. But, he's a kid that anybody that's ever coached basketball, you can make a tape of him and show your team just how to play. Just keep playing, keep high motor, keep going, offense, defense.
Nice shot underneath by Tyler Hood. But, yeah, John Calipari calls Kidd-Gilchrist arguably his best player.
And, he's come up big. He's been very, very good. He was outstanding at Indiana. And he came back with 17 points against Chattanooga, 17 and 11 against North Carolina.
Boy, Lamb really has it firing on all cylinders tonight, Dan. He's got 21, and the meter's still running with 13:45 to go now in the second half.
From Kentucky's perspective, you hope that a kid like Lamb and the extra work that he's put in not only helps him, but helps others on the team see that he's put in this work, he's getting the result. Why don't I do that as well?
Well, let's talk about this Kentucky Breakfast Club that it's been given the moniker. It goes back to the days of Michael Jordan when he, of course, was with the Chicago Bulls the year they won 72 games. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, he brought in Ron Harper, a bunch of guys started working out before practice. It's something that has started up recently here at Kentucky. John Calipari won't name names as to who exactly is a part of the club, but it seems to be swelling by numbers day by day, minute by minute, Dan.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to name names because he doesn't want people to feel guilty in the coming and joining the club. He wants you to do it or his players to do it because they want to get better. And it doesn't involve, it was interesting talking to Coach Calipari, it doesn't involve shooting or free throw, it involves stretching, weightlifting, and also those other things. A number of factors involved.
Have an injured player down on the floor for the Bulldogs. We're not sure, it looks like it's Heyman. Let's take a look at the rebound and trying to spot his number. Well, he got hit in the face.
Yeah, Eloy Vargas caught him.
That's Heyman, yeah. Brandon Heyman.
There was nothing intentional there. I think, and you know this, sometimes your face gets in the way of an elbow in basketball. It's just a lot of guys going after a ball in a small area.
So he'll come out of the ball game, and Kalen Johnson comes in for him. Kentucky leading by 30. Here's Friday. Post up pass, no good. Tried to feed Hood inside. Kentucky looking to improve to 10-1 in the season and 7-0 at home this year. They have a 40-game home winning streak on the line, which, barring a miraculous comeback, will stay intact. Wiltjer with a ball fake. Rebounded by the Bulldogs, and here they come, looking for a little break here. Quick hit by Hood. Nice rip move on the baseline, and he earns himself a trip to the foul line. Tyler Hood with a sweet move.
Well, Wiltjer, you want to know what a breakfast club is good for? Wiltjer is a standstill three-point shooter. Okay, so if you come in early and you work on one dribble pull-ups and you're Wiltjer, you're going to immediately get better at it. You're going to be comfortable enough to make that shot in the game. And as a freshman, Wiltjer missed that shot, and then he let it bother him down on the other end, relaxed and fouled. But you can see with Wiltjer, he has terrific hands. He's going to be a very, very good player. Just needs strength and a little bit of confidence.
6'9" freshman out of Portland, Oregon, 9 points and 3 rebounds off the bench in his last game as he goes back to the bench right now. His father, Greg Wiltjer, native of British Columbia, Canada, now living in Portland, Oregon, a former player at Oregon State. Now, Wiltjer played with a very acclaimed AAU team, the Drew Gooden Soldiers, the Oakland Soldiers, where he had Brandon Ashley, who's going to go to Arizona next year, as many of his highly ranked teammates. And speaking of ranked teammates, you know what? No surprise that Calipari is going to have some big ones coming in next year by the likes of Archie Goodwin and a cast of others.
You know, I had a chance to talk to you.
Teague with a high handoff to Davis.
Well, you see it about 2 or 3 times a game with Kentucky. Teague driving the lane, the defense helps up. And when you help up in the lane against Kentucky, it's going to be a dunk.
A 31-point lead, the largest of the night for the Wildcats. Friday's jumper a little bit strong and rebounded by the Wildcats. Calipari maintaining their discipline, running plays and sets. Davis with a wild spinning miss. Ooh. How's that fit under your Christmas list, Dan Dawkins?
It's a little 360 in the post. But here, when you help up on the drive, Marcus Teague with great vision is just going to throw it up, and the ball's going to be dunked.
On the other side, we'll have Dan's Christmas wish list. Nine to play in the second half. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. And Dan, here's a look at your Christmas wish list. Jared Sullinger at the top.
Well, I think there's a chance for Ohio State to win a national championship, but Jared Sullinger has to play. I talked to Thad Matta today. He's going to play against Lamar. He has a sprained foot. They were concerned it might be broke. They went and got x-rays at South Carolina. It's not, it's just sprained. So with Jared Sullinger, they absolutely have a chance to win a national championship. Then I talk about Alabama making the 3. Alabama, to me, is one of my favorite teams. Anthony Grant can coach. They play great defense. Their problem is, in their 3 losses, they're 9 for 46 from the three-point line. They're a 24% three-point shooting team, and you just can't have that. And then lastly, the Pac-10. The Pac-10, you mentioned AAU teams. Look, the West Coast has tremendous AAU teams. You mentioned the Oakland Soldiers, a great AAU program. But the Pac-10, Mark, according to Jeff Sagarin, USA Today rankings, is the 9th best conference in the country.
Wow.
Behind the Mountain West, the Atlantic 10, and that just should not be.
And the Pac-12.
Pac-12, I'm sorry, what did I say, the Pac-10?
Yeah, we're still there. Don't worry, but you got company with me in that one. Still conforming. 11:13 to go.
Forgot about Utah and Colorado.
Vargas wheeling into the paint. You know, Eloy Vargas had a chance to go overseas and play international basketball this past summer. He spent the first part of the summer working out with the Dominican national basketball team, Dominican Republic national team, and of which John Calipari was the head coach, and then later on went over to China to play with a group of collegiate players, and he really grew or tried to grow his offensive game. You saw an indication of it right there.
Well, he was a really highly rated kid, ended up at Florida, then went to Miami-Dade. You know, he's got talent. He just hasn't in his college career put it all together.
There are some people that hope that maybe he could become this year's Josh Harrelson for Kentucky.
You know, you mentioned Josh Harrelson. You can say whatever you want about Coach Calipari, but he makes players work. He's tough on them. We saw it today in the shoot-around. He doesn't care if you're the first pick in the draft. If you walk on, he's going to coach you every minute, and you're going to get better. That's just the way it's going to be when you play for him, and his record is unbelievable.
Nice little jump hook there by Matthew Friday.
That shouldn't happen. One of the problems Kentucky has had in this game that Coach Calipari will show his team is post defense. Samford undersized, yet they've been able to get the ball onto the block, whether it's Windler or in that case it was Friday.
Miller driving in, sweet spin move. Almost had a three-point play, but Darius Miller is really putting it together tonight, getting the start in place of Terrence Jones. And folks, Wednesday night, ESPN2 with a double dip for you at 7. Texas taking on North Carolina. Then at 9 Eastern, Oklahoma State meets Alabama. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. I want to say that last year, that game came down to the final possession with Corey Joseph and North Carolina and Texas.
I believe that was in Charlotte.
Yep.
We were talking about Eloy Vargas. I saw Tyler Zeller of North Carolina matched up against Eloy Vargas in team camp. A couple some when they were going to be seniors in high school. And Eloy Vargas hit Tyler Zeller, not intentionally, just got him right in the sternum and bent him over with a shot. Tyler Zeller went out and scored 17 straight points against him. It was, you're sitting there at a camp going, wow, look at this. And that's what Tyler Zeller kind of is. We're talking about North Carolina, just a tough kid. His brother Cody's having a great year, but Tyler's a tough guy, 31 against Appalachian State the other night.
Right here, 65-34. Past the midway point of the second half, Kentucky looking to improve to 10-1 on the season, and their 7th consecutive win at home this year. Jumper by Johnson is good. That's 3, and that's his first field goal of the night. Johnson, a 6-foot senior from Baton Rouge. Calipari calls out 41. Here's Wiltjer. Teague lost the handle and turns it over. Good hustle by Davis. Active hands knocked out of bounds, but it'll be Bulldogs basketball.
Well, Marcus Teague just took the ball in the lane and really was not a bad offensive play, but Samford just got their hands on the ball. He rarely exposes the ball in the lane. That's a skill as well. A lot of kids go in the lane and the ball is shown, it gets stripped. Rarely does that happen to Teague. Got back cut right there.
He sure did. An acrobatic layup off the mark that time.
And that's what I was talking about earlier about Davis. Davis was there. He didn't get the block, but because he's there, you have to adjust.
Wiltjer, a little show and go, is fouled. That's the 3rd foul against Heyman. It's interesting. This building kind of silent right now. The fans here have pretty much seen what they wanted to see so far, but it underscores the point that you can hear the Kentucky players courtside here, Dan, talking a little bit more than I've heard them in the past so far this year, at least seen on television, a foul that time. And that's something that John Calipari is trying to get his team to do a little bit more of, and it's almost symptomatic of how things are with this generation of kids. There's not as much verbal communication because of the texting and social media going on, and something that you have to overcome on the court, right?
Coach Calipari is going to ban cell phones and social media over the break here. He's told his players, look, we're going to play today, we're going to play Thursday, take a little bit of time off, come back, and it's going to be all basketball. Cell phones gone. You're going to talk to each other because the kids and adults, we always say kids, but adults are the same way. We all get on phones and we're texting, tweeting, whatever.
And for a young team, you'd like to see them talk a little bit more, especially communicating on defense, as Lamb is fouled going to the basket. It's been another balanced scoring attack for the Wildcats tonight, much like their game on Saturday against UT Chattanooga. 3 players already in double figures.
Yeah, what you'd like to see with Anthony Davis, before we went to the last break, he took a wild shot in the post. Don't be surprised if for maybe the next 5 minutes here, the ball doesn't go down on the block, just to get him work, just to get him used to getting the ball in the post and get him a couple baskets to get his confidence down on the block. Never have 24,000 people. So
I was thinking the same thing. Well, some might argue that the fans here might be a little bit spoiled by the success.
I think the fans here are absolutely great. I mean, they are
supportive.
Oh,
yes. I didn't say not supportive.
No. You're right, though. They're used to success. They're used to a level of success, and they are as rabid and excitable as any in the country. I'm not sure anybody matches it.
Bulldogs to inbound underneath. This is Kelly.
A good play by Teague, taking away the layup.
We talk so much about defending that Princeton backdoor cut in offense. There's another one. How would you grade? Look at Calipari on the sidelines throwing up his arms. How would you grade? What grade would you give Kentucky defensively so far with 7 and change to go?
Well, they've done a really good job. They've given up 39 points, and that's fine. But when you're a coach and you make a point of emphasis, we're not giving up a back cut. For you as a coach, you don't want to give up a back cut. They've given up 4 or 5 here in this game. So, you know, they've done a good job. They've handled most of it. But when you don't handle things in a Princeton-style offense, it's glaring. Like right there, you get going down the lane, everybody's spread out.
They've given up 6 backdoor cuts to be exact tonight, 12 points, and here's a look at the latest.
Don't watch the ball. Look at Kidd-Gilchrist. He's above his man. He's not supposed to be there. He's supposed to be between his man and the basket.
Our partner here, as we look at the relative success of the men's and women's programs respectively, Kentucky's women's team doing very good as well under head coach Matthew Mitchell, currently ranked number 8 in the country. And
hey, I thought that Baylor-UConn game the other night was terrific. Baylor ends up beating UConn. Yeah. Jeff Van Gundy on women's basketball, that was outstanding. I thought he was great. I thought Doris was terrific. Dave O'Brien.
Anytime you get number 1 and number 2, it's always a good show. And this one lived up to the hype. 7:15 to go. Mark Jones courtside along with the Jordan stopper, Dan Dockich. I'm old enough to remember that, okay?
Sometimes guys just run into a better athlete. Michael ran into a better athlete that night.
I remember. 7:03.
I watched that game one time with my kids. I said, don't watch the game. Listen to the announcers.
I must say it was a highlight when I found out that I was working with you tonight on the schedule.
Yeah. I was wondering who you made mad at ESPN.
And there's the backdoor cut, a little back at you for Kentucky. Nice backdoor cut by Doron Lamb, had it knocked out of bounds.
You know, Coach Calipari has been and will be all over his team. He thinks this team has a real shot and understands that, you know, last year maybe people were surprised. This year there's bigger expectations, and that kid right there is going to have to do that for this team to be as good as it can possibly be. Darius Miller.
How deep is this Kentucky team when you talk about getting into the Elite 8, into the Final Four? How deep a roster you see them using?
Well, I don't think they're going to go very deep, and I don't think they should. Thad Matta and Coach Calipari, they have kind of the same philosophy. Let's just get 7 or 8 really good players and let's play them. That way no one's complaining about time. Everybody, you know, gets their opportunity. And when those 7 or 8 kids are really good, you have a shot, and certainly in both cases, in both programs, they are.
Miller with the kick out to Lamb for 3. Another one falls down. You know, it's supposed to be the other way around. It was the Bulldogs coming into the night that were number 3 in the nation in threes made per game at about 11. But tonight, Kentucky has turned it on against them.
Yep. There's a back cut again.
Kentucky has knocked down 8 out of 18 threes, and Calipari 35-3, followed by a 29-10, and this one to be decided still. 9-1 coming into tonight, and still coaching his guys up. He's smiling, he just hasn't told his face yet. John Calipari's team leading by 30 points, and he knows something about guards with some good wheels. Freshman guards Derrick Rose, now with the Chicago Bulls, recently signing that lucrative extension. Showed off his acrobatic ways while at Memphis under Calipari. Tyreek Evans did the same, now with the Sacramento Kings, and John Wall, the latest point guard in a long lineage of talented ones, now with the Washington Wizards. And Brandon Knight, last year's addition, drafted by the Pistons. Now when you look at Teague, is he next? I guess that's the obvious question.
I think Teague does a couple things that point guards do. He can get to the rim, plays very fundamentally fast. Like, he flies down the court, yet like all good point guards, understands get to the elbow, make your play, or go to the rim, one of the two. And then the other thing about Teague, he seems to be a leader. He's a freshman out here, and he's telling guys where to go, what to do. And yeah, I think he has a real shot to be the next guy that gets into the NBA.
Look at his assistant turnover ratio, how it has flipped in the last 6 games. He's certainly got a handle on his decision making.
You know, you're talking about a freshman point guard freshman point guard last year to the Final Four. John Calipari has an amazing ability. People talk about the dribble drive offense or whatever you want to talk about. This guy gets teams to play defense. He gets them to play tough, he gets them to play hard, and he gets them to play with relatively no ego. I mean, you're talking about the #1 player in the country in Davis, #1 point guard in the country in Teague, Lamb, who's a kid who's thinking about, an NBA guy, maybe the number 3 player in Gilchrist, and they play without an ego, and they play tough, and they guard every single possession.
Yeah,
that's on him.
Yep.
That's on the coach.
And now Lamb comes to the sideline shaking his hand, and he's going to come out of the ball game. That's his shooting head. And he's writhing in pain. They've already got one player with an injured finger. Terrence Jones didn't play tonight. Nice block that time by Kidd-Gilchrist.
I bet you Coach Calipari said, hey, Doron, get in there. We're going to run a double down for a 3. I bet you his hand will get up there real quick.
It's always that way, isn't it? As Teague is fouled going to the bucket. And no, that's going to be a carrying violation, a palming violation against him. That's the sixth turnover of the ball game, and that in itself is a good stat for Kentucky. The fact that they've only given it away 6 times tonight.
Yeah, they play fast, and again, it's Marcus Teague flipping his game around.
Kelly with the drive, rebounded by Davis. Under 5 minutes to go here in Lexington, Kentucky. Number 3, the Wildcats in control against the Samford Bulldogs, as Kentucky looks for its 7th straight win at home this year. And it's 40th in a row overall. At Rupp. Nice spin move and a kick out. A whistle and a foul. Hey folks, don't forget Thursday night. More hoops for you on ESPN2, a doubleheader. At 7 o'clock, Memphis takes on Georgetown, and then at 9, Illinois takes on Missouri. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers on ESPN2. And Josh Pastner has his guys playing well. Boy, I really like Antonio Barton. Had a chance to do their game down in Coral Gables against the Hurricanes a couple of weeks ago, and he was extremely impressive.
People want to discount Memphis, but do it at your own peril, because that's a talented team. And again, that plays pretty hard.
Windler with the long-range jumper. He's got 11. Teague out top, and he's fouled that time by Johnson. And he's going to shoot the bonus now, as the Bulldogs are at the limit. If you're head coach Jimmy Tillett of the Bulldogs, how do you grade your team when you come into a game like this, and you're a prohibitive underdog, realistically? How do you grade your team in terms of watching the film, Dan? You've been there. You're up against a prohibitive favorite like Kentucky, a behemoth of sorts. And when you get home and you break down the videotape, are you looking at it a little bit differently because of your opponent?
Yes, because physically you don't match up. You can do one of 2 ways. You can break it down positively, say, look at what we were able to do. Or in that case right there, look what you should have done against a better, longer player. Go underneath the rim and use the basket. There are a ton of teaching moments, and what we saw right there with the block shot is certainly one of them, because you don't just automatically say, well, we got beat by a better team, let's just go home. You have to take something out of it. Now, some coaches may take all negative, may say, look, I expected us to play better than this. I expected us to compete. This is my expectation. It's just according to how you want to approach it.
Teague with an acrobatic move, missed the layup. Kidd-Gilchrist got that motor humming, tipped it up twice, and got it to go.
Yeah, he's a fan favorite here. One thing about Kentucky fans is they respect and respond to tough guys, tough play, and Kidd-Gilchrist very quickly in his career has become an absolute favorite of this crowd.
Merritt on the drive, had it packed on the glass. That's the 7th block of the night as they approach their game average of 10. Under 3 minutes to go, a 31-point lead. Wiltjer on the dump down to Miller. Kidd-Gilchrist. Wiltjer hustling in for the rebound, out of bounds. It'll be Samford basketball. Well, Kentucky wins their championships with defense like a lot of others. And they're looking to hang another banner up top here at Rupp Arena.
Elias.
Kyle Marshall from Flanagan High School and down by me in Broward County, Florida. Great high school player there. Of course, Cypress Bay, the favorite this year to win that district.
Why is that? Why is
Strong
Cypress Bay
backcourt.
the pick?
Strong backcourt. Johnson inside, and Johnson with the layup.
There's that up screen again. Kentucky's had a little bit of problem with that up screen. One thing that they will see is the man guarding the screener has to protect the basket. But Samford continues to run their offense.
Long jumper good. Wiltjer on the scoreboard. That's his first field goal.
You see Wiltjer, they're very comfortable catching and shooting. He needs to be a Breakfast Club guy. Get in the gym, take one dribble, work on his shot fake, one dribble game, and that would add a completely new dimension to his offensive game.
Here's Hood. You know, they hear us talking about some of the favorites, Kentucky and North Carolina. Cliff Robinson, the former Husky player for UConn and longtime NBA veteran, hitting me on Twitter just a few moments ago saying, it's all about UConn this year, bro. The Huskies will be tough. So at Uncle Cliffy 30 is the Twitter address. He's feeling a little Husky love.
Well, I'll tell you what, Ryan Boatwright is a great addition to that Husky team. He's been terrific. Butler here, I was tweeting or texting today with Brad Stevens.
Yeah, get it straight, huh? Tweeting,
yeah,
texting.
I can't keep it up. But he's really concerned about the physicality. Sacre and Harris inside. Butler coming off a last-second win. Andrew Smith with a tip-in to beat Purdue. That's going to be a very physical game. Butler used to surprise people with how physical they are. Now opponents know, understand, and get ready for Butler's physicality.
Vargas out front. Kentucky just going to wind this thing down, up 80-48, and an impressive showing here tonight. There's Wiltjer on the edge. There's that hook shot that everyone loves. It's an old school roll it up. And Wiltjer now with 5.
That was Uwe Blop-like.
Is that your first official Hoosier reference of the night?
Not according to Kentucky.
It comes with about 15 seconds to go in the game. That's fair. 32-point lead. And this one is cooked, glazed, and ready to be sliced. Kentucky improving to 10-1 on the season. And their 41st win in a row at home. Our final score, 82-50. Doron Lamb leading the way. And that's a wrap. Teague finished up with 26. Pardon me, that was Lamb with 26. Well, our final score, once again, it was all Kentucky Blue, 82-50. Coming up next on ESPN2, Butler taking on